All right, so welcome back for another video. This one's gonna be a little more light, I guess you could call it. I don't know. Call it what you will. Either way, just gonna get right into this one. Should the NBA players start their own league? That's the question. And during I think it was during or right before the NBA bubble started, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Kyrie Irving broached that idea, and people pretty much laughed at him and didn't take him serious. But I, for one, was like, yeah, why don't they start their own league? They're always complaining about, not being represented adequately on a ownership level, managerial level, and coaching level. So one would think that if you were to have your own league, then obviously you'd be able to, you know, have adequate representation. Not from, and then on top of that, actually, you'd be, I don't know, I guess going out on your own and leading the way and pioneering, would you say, the movement? And maybe that's why they don't want to do it. So for pretty much what I'm going to do right now for this video is I'm just going to give you a couple reasons, why they could and should. And I'm also going to bring up some of the reasons probably why they aren't doing it. And then I'm going to make an analogy or, I'm going to try to make a connection with the reason why they won't and why they don't with why, quote unquote, black people today don't and won't go out on their own. So anyway, first and foremost, do they have the capital to start a league? Yes. Yes, these players are getting paid a boatload of money. Even the ones that aren't marquee names are making, tens of millions. And then, a lot of these guys have endorsement deals where they're making money outside of basketball on top of that. Don't get me wrong, there is a large part of the league, like I would say maybe, because there's 15 guys on the team. So about like from 9 or 10 on, yeah, those guys aren't really making that much, relatively speaking. But to answer the overall question, can they fund it? Yes, they can fund it. LeBron, look, what's that guy's name? LeVar Ball, uh, albeit for one season, and that's because obviously the NCAA was not happy with him starting the JBA, but he started a sports league and it was televised. And he's not as rich as these guys, and he was able to pull it off. So obviously, if these players did try to start their own league, you better believe the NBA and all the interest groups of the NBA are going to try to quell that sooner rather than later. But it's definitely something that could be done that can show that black, quote unquote, black people can be owners of things. I mean, outside of freaking Michael Jordan, who's really owning anything? And don't say JayZ. He like, come on, he was a mascot. That's what he was. All right, he wasn't no owner. But yeah, so outside of Michael Jordan, who's really owning anything? And then all right, so what? The greatest of all time? You have to be the greatest of all time to be black and an owner. Is that what that says? So I think that if these players were to start their own league, because obviously they could, they had the money to do so. It would show for generations and generations in the future that you don't have to just be a player. You could be a business owner. You can supply jobs to your communities. You know what I mean, as opposed to begging an NBA franchise or NFL franchise to come to your team, which is a white man, because it's going to give your city jobs and stuff like that. Now, is it a good thing that these things supply jobs? Yes, it's great. But wouldn't you rather be the one, in control of the jobs of your people? One would think that you would have their best interests in mind. I mean, obviously, you still have to be a businessman. I'm not saying, like, just go out there and, start giving out exorbitant freaking contracts to everybody under your employ. No, but obviously, you know, you would probably be more willing to take care of your people as opposed to someone else. And this isn't sit here to castigate, and it's not about, I'm not trying to make everything about race. I'm just saying that's just innate. Um, why do we not have any ownership in anything for the most part, in any major industry in this country? So, also a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, Carmelo Anthony was talking about purchasing I think the Washington WNBA team, with LeBron James. Now, I don't know how much these WNBA teams are going for, but I do know that the league itself makes no goddamn money, so I can't see them going for that much. So I don't know why. Well, actually, I guess I do know why LeBron and Carmelo will probably go in on it, because that's half the risk. You don't have to take the whole risk, especially of a freaking WNBA team. But if that's the case, if they're talking about buying a WNBA team, and obviously they're going to go halves on it because it's risky, then why not? Get a whole bunch of players and start your own damn league. That people will actually pay to see. Ain't nobody gonna go watch no goddamn WNBA game. Ain't nobody even doing it to begin with. Like, nah, come on. I don't care if LeBron James owns it. I don't care if Michael Jordan owns it. I mean, think about it. Michael Jordan owned the Charlotte Hornets, and then and the Bobcats, and I think there were the Hornets before that again. He owned them for a while, and not even me. Many people didn't want to watch them fucking play. So, it's not so much like, oh, well, LeBron James the owner, so people are gonna watch. Get the fuck out of here, man. Unless LeBron James is doing the halftime show and he's doing a dunk contest, ain't nobody going to them fucking games. Just like ain't nobody going now, and no one really cares about. I could probably name two, maybe three. I could name three WNBA players right now. Obviously the Brittany Griner, because she's like the only one out there dunking. Then you got Deladon, who very attractive. Very, very attractive for a very tall woman. I think she did recently went gay or whatever, but that was only a matter of time. And then you have Diana Taurasi. She's got video, that one. But outside of that, I can't name you anyone else. There was a woman in the league named Epiphany Prince a couple years ago. I know that because I seen her play at Rutgers. She was actually pretty good. Small woman, but had a lot of tenacity. And she was a baller. But anyway, I'm not trying to poo-poo a lot of these women athletes, but look, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I don't lie to y'all, and I'm not gonna start lying to y'all today. The WNBA is a whole bunch of bullshit. It makes no money, so these women out here complaining about equality and stuff like that. Y'all know what my stance on equality, number one. So I'm not gonna stay too much on this. Actually, I'm gonna get off of it right now. But no, LeBron, no Carmelo, don't go and buy a WNBA team that no one gives a fuck about. How about you buy start your own league? Whether you play in it or not. I mean, think about it. All right, look, say you guys don't want to start the own league and be in your own league. Maybe you want to start a league that can compete with the G League. Now, I'm not sure if that's possible because based on the contracts. If it's not possible, all right, then start your own league and go over there. You know what I'm saying? Because sponsorship deals are going to follow you, LeBron. It's not like Nike's going to be like, oh, LeBron, I'm not playing in the NBA. He started his own league. Well, we're not going to, mess with LeBron James anymore. We're going to get recently brought up from the G League, John Doe to be to be sponsored by Nike. No, that's not going to happen. So the sponsorship, you're not going to worry about that. You might actually get even more endorsements by trying to pioneer something like that. But, so some reasons why they probably wouldn't do it and why they aren't doing it is because the same reason why the quote-unquote black community is in dire straits right now. Comfortability, man. Yeah, it ain't the best situation. Yeah, but it ain't the worst situation. And that mindset gets you nowhere but the status quo. And I'm not trying to be, a radical over here, but I think there's a problem with me even feeling as if I have to say that's not radical. Because if a quote-unquote white person were to do it, and I'm not trying to get into the, this gender shit, But if they were to do it, which they've done, say, hey, let's do this, it's not considered radical. That's just what it is. But when we want to buck the trend in favor of ourselves, it's considered a radical idea, and that's crazy and stuff like that. But it's not. It's not. It's actually, it makes more sense. We make up 90% of the league. Why the hell don't we own the damn league? You know? Come on, man. Just that's simple math. You know, even football. You know, I'm not sure if it's 90 in football. It might be a little bit less than 90, but I'm willing to go that it's above 75%. You know, of the NFL. So again, you know, why don't we own the league? Now, football will be a little bit different, obviously, for them to go about that because the football players don't make as much money as NBA players, especially not guaranteed. Football is a sport that is typically played only one time throughout the year. It can be played all throughout the year because of the domes and stuff like that. But then football stadiums are also a thing where, you know, if you're gonna make the revenue, you're gonna have to have a big enough stadium. So then you'd probably have to, you know, rent out some college stadiums to meet the demand. And then obviously you have to deal with the whole equipment and all of that. So, you know, it'll be much more trickier for them to pull that off compared to the NBA. Actually, when you start thinking about the NFL players starting their own league, and then you go back to the NBA players starting their own, you're like, oh shit, you know what? Yeah, they should definitely do it. You know, the NFL has actual, you know, obstacles in their way. The NBA, I can't really find one besides they just don't want to, you know, go out on their own. You know, maybe they're afraid to go out on their own and take that risk. And again, I think that's analogous to the quote unquote black community, mainly the black man. You know, like the change starts with you, black man. You know, I talk all the time about, you know, issues in our community, issues that plague us, and I offer up solutions. But, you know, and I was talking to a colleague at my job yesterday about this. And I wasn't talking to her to have like a, you know, a real sit down and like meaningful conversation because that's not her place and that's not, you know, like that's not how that goes down. But I was just, you know, telling her because I forget how the conversation came up, but she asked me a question, and I just pretty much like threw it out there, and then she was like, you know, well, it starts with the man, and I'm like, yeah, I know, it starts with the man, but the way the situation is right now, it's like a very like vicious cycle, like a circle, man, and trying to figure out where to start it in the phase of the circle is super important because without the black men in the household, you have black kids that grow up that don't know how to be men. So obviously you need the man there when there's kids in the household, right? And then if you have the kids, if you are a black man and you had that leadership in your life, but then you don't choose the right woman, and then you find yourself not being in your kid's life, that's still a problem. That's still a problem, man. You know, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror, black man. We have to, and say enough is enough, man. You know, it doesn't matter if you gotta wait till you fucking 40 to find a woman that you know that you feel comfortable to procreate with. If that's the case, and that's the damn case, because the path we're on now, man, it's just gonna be the same old bullshit. But anyway, to get back to the main point, the NBA has been around, as you can see, since 1946. It's 30 teams. Obviously, when it started out, it wasn't that many teams. There was a merger, and it got bigger and bigger. So if the players were to start their own league, you know, they could probably start with maybe like 8, 10 teams. Something small, something light, you know, and then obviously build upon that. You know, and then not only that, these players could have money into their futures. You know, deep into their futures. You know, if you own a basketball team, and then you could replace the NBA, because, you know, obviously the NBA has pretty much done a great job going global, you know, because basketball itself is global. So then you won't have any problem, you know. Actually, it's good. Competition is good, obviously. We live in a capitalistic society, and capitalism is good. The NBA has no competitors, you know. Like, if you're not going to watch NBA because for whatever fucking reason, what other basketball are you going to watch? College, no, that's like amateurs. The G League, come on, you're not gonna do that. But then if you were to have another league, then obviously, it gives the opportunity for more players to get their shine, their comeuppance. You know, a lot of players that will never make it now. The pool's bigger, the opportunities are larger. Now they get to either make it to the NBA or LeBron's league or whatever you want to call it, and then it's just competition is good, and they need that competition. We need that leadership, that ownership. We need to be able to see that. If a lot of these players want to be social justice warriors, what they should do is start trying to be leaders by example, and not by freaking protesting slash boycotting games or wearing freaking silly ass fucking sayings on the back of their jerseys. By becoming an owner, first of all, willing to go out and make that move, and then becoming an owner or staking ownership in something, and then investing in that, obviously, and then using those proceeds to invest in the community. That if you really want to be about the quote unquote cause, do something like that. But I want this video to be short, so that's about it, y'all. Peace. Uh oh.